Glad to know you stay with us. And like I told you before we went on that timeout, we're looking at Tier 2 Bank's second quarter earnings, and we are doing a sector and comparative analysis of their performance. Well, we have 7 banks here. We have FCMB Group, Fidelity Bank, Sterling Bank, Union Bank, Wema Bank, Unity Bank, and Chase Bank. These are the banks we're looking at. And so we start with FCMB. First, we look at the 2022 Q2 earning against the 2021 Q2 earning, and then we look at the change. So for FCMB Group, 126.22 billion naira. And then in 2021, 94.23 billion naira. The percentage change, 33.96. For Fidelity Bank, 154.84 billion naira. In 2021, 112.30 billion naira, and the percentage change, 37.88. For Sterling Bank, 78.38 billion naira, and then in 2021, 67.26 billion naira, percentage change, 16.53. Union Bank now, 87.72 billion naira, Q2 2022. And in 2021, 77.79 billion naira, percentage change being 12.76. For Wema Bank, 60.29 billion naira. In 2021, 41.33 billion naira. Percentage change, 45.88. Unity Bank, 27.61 billion naira, Q2 2022. Q2 2021, 23.61 billion naira. Percentage change, 16.94. And then for Chase Bank, 10.44 billion naira 2022 Q2, and in 2021 Q2, 8.86 billion naira. The percentage change there being 17.76. And for this one, I'd like to start with you, Mr. Omojo.
Yeah, for me, looking at the second-tier banks' performance on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, I would say they've done well. That is a good number to say kudos to the financial sector. Shows that our banks are really resilient and they are doing well. But another thing that is for investment decision, you need to go for the leaders in that sector, because we have almost 3 classes of bankings in Nigeria. We have the first year bank, we have I call them is the artificial group, the ETI and the Stanbic. They are not in first year, they are not in second tier, they have class of their own. But looking at this this one, I've said that this numbers I've said there is good. But looking at the the turnover or the gross earnings, I will tell you that it tells you when a company is expanding, you are increasing, you are entering that market, or you are introducing new products, new services in the banking sector. Also, with the help of this online banking. Remember when we were in COVID-19 era lockdown, banks were posting positive numbers because people are still transacting online, and they are capitalized on that model to make sure that people are really transacting. And if you see what is done in terms of digital transaction in the banking sector, last year, say that yes, Nigerians have gone online for banking. But for me, I would say that on the number we're seeing, I can see that Fidelity is standing out there. I see that it's also improving, FCMB. But the good thing that I noticed that for that Sterling Bank numbers, look very good at this point. But activities we are seeing in Sterling Bank tell you that something is happening there. We are seeing volume for the past almost 2 months now in that bank, and that volume shows that there's activities. And there's one thing in equity investing that when we see the insiders, acquiring position, that means that there's something they are seeing that they probably have not noticed. That's why we are seeing an insider buying. I will notice that the directors of Sterling Bank have been acquiring position. I tell you that there is something investors outside have not noticed, and it's not against the rule because they notify the exchange that yes, they are buying, but it should give you an information that something is fishing in that bank. That you as an investor, like me now as a trader, we take an analysis. I look at what is the volume that speaks a lot. People say trend is your friend. I believe that volume is my own friend because volume tells you a lot of things that is happening in the company. For an analyst, like an investor, I said if you look at that sector and this penny stock, apart from Union Bank, I say around 6 naira. Other ones are below 5 naira. They are opening stock, and also they're supporting that dividend will come from nearly all of them, apart from the Unity Bank that is already in a negative shareholders fund. But others, there's potential of good dividend at the end of the day.
All right, very quickly, let's have your thought, Mr. Fakroha.
Yes, I would say these banks have, they've come, they are telling us that yes, they are now the leaders. Before. When I started this market, it was the banking sector. And when that sector sneezes, other sector will catch cold. So we are sure of them giving dividends. We are sure of them giving bonus. So they've been doing so well. But of course, when the issues came and all that, yes, the COVID-19 era showed which of these banks were really resilient. And I'm so happy looking at the numbers. They've all learned from that experience. And you can see online digital platform has been deployed. I will tell you, even me myself, I don't know when I went inside any bank. Yes, and even little children too, students, everybody. People don't go to the bank, but they steal from the comfort of their bedroom. They transact banking services. So I think that's what the numbers we are seeing there. I'm so happy for the banks. But again, you know, as a sustainability person, I'll begin to, you know, look at the numbers, but at the same time, how have they operated to ensure that they did not treat their staff, their labor anyhow. The environment where they operate, they are also impacting the communities, because I cannot be seeing this kind of earnings, you know, and at the end of the day, the community is not being impacted. So I will tell the banks, you know, please impact your community.
Okay.
Coming to Sterling Bank, I agree with him. Something is actually.
You know, when you talk about impact, impact your community. Good,
yes.
All right. I think that's
Sterling Bank, something is, you know, that bank is the one customer bank. They've done quite well. Of course, the MD is a very young person. He knows what to do. But the thing that is coming out in that bank, of course, I know transparency is there. The insiders have notified the exchange for some of the transactions. We're happy about that. So, well, investors that want to also follow the people there, fine. It's free exit, free entry. They can decide to go into. But I think these banks have done quite well, and I must congratulate the management of these banks. They've done quite. Even Wema Bank is even there. You can see one of the oldest banks in the country, and they are really coming back to say yes, they are there.
Okay, so let's look at the profit after tax now. Again, the same 2022 Q2 against 2021 Q2, and then we look at the percentage change. So for FCMB Group, 13.66 billion naira. Wow. And then in 2021, 7.56 billion naira. The percentage change, 80.80. For Fidelity Bank, 23.31 billion naira. In 2021, 19.31 billion naira, and then the percentage change being 20.72. For Sterling Bank, 2022 Q2, 8.01 billion naira, and in 2021, 5.69 billion naira. Percentage change there, 40.80. Union Bank, 11.93 billion naira. Then in 2021, 11.10 billion naira. The change, 7.43%. Wema Bank, 5.28 billion naira. And then 2021, 3.72 billion naira. Percentage change there, 42%. And then for Unity Bank, 1.69 billion naira in 2022 Q2. 2021 Q2, 1.38 billion naira. Percentage change, 22.87. And for Jay's Bank, 2.54 billion naira. 2021, 1.99 billion naira. Percentage change, 26.82. But Mr. Aruna, if you can hear me, I'd like you to talk to us about that, the profit after tax. All right, I guess we're having a connection issue with that. Okay, let's start with you then.
Okay, yes, you can see numbers don't tell lies. You can see, and if you look at that, the number there, you see that Union Bank has the list in terms of profit after tax. After tax, of course, it is obvious because of the kind of thing that is going on now in Union Bank. Of course, the FCMB. By that,
you mean the percentage?
The percentage, okay. Yes. If you look at the IS there is FCMB Group. I'm not surprised that it's a bank. Of course, it's a group now, so it is not just the bank itself. Yeah, it's an holding company. Yeah. So they've done quite well too. The advice I will always give again is, yes, these banks should operate best practice. It is not just to declare numbers like this, but we want to see how you were able to operate in your environment. Ensure that all the CBN regulations were met, all the SEC regulations were met, and of course, your bank or your group, it's a place where people can really come to work and see that, yes, they can contribute their own quota. I must commend them again. They've done quite well, and I think they should just keep the ball rolling.
All right, before you speak, I know that we're comparing for profit after tax, we're looking at Q2 against Q1. But when we start looking from earnings, when you look at the earnings, FCMB Group 126.22 billion naira, and then the profit after tax is just about 13.66 billion naira. And then you also look at 2021 against 2021 profit after tax also, you see that there is this wide margin. And it's not just about FCMB Group, it goes for all the other banks. Let's have your thoughts on that.
I would say that the banking sector, being the engine of any economy, will expect this performance if the economy remaining on the recovering part. They're going to reflect on the banking sector because they drive what? The economy. But good thing is that, yes, we are seeing this impressive number now that the CBN has successfully increased the rate for 2 consecutive CBN MPC meeting. It's going to reflect more, a better number will still come as at Q3, as we're expecting Q3. Good. But from the number we just seen now, see that the banks have done well. Like we say, you need to go for those that are standing in performance because it's all about making investment. When you understand the activities or the business model behind the number, it helps you to know exactly where to be. For now, we have seen these numbers and we know the holding companies in this number we have seen, these second-tier banks. We also know those that are operating as an organic level, one standing only banking activities at all. But for me, the number that emanated from FCMB is quite impressive, but the price also is also attractive at this point. But when you look at the number that Fidelity released to the market, for me, it's a good one, very outstanding number. Yes, the change might not be as high as that of FCMB, but the numbers speak volume for Fidelity. Also, that they're also branching out of the operation out of Nigeria, which is good. And also, they're having extra ordinary meeting or ordinary agent meeting for them to approve. They're likely to also do direct placement to raise funds for the acquisition of the UK Union Bank, which is good. But the first thing that impressed everyone in the market is that this bank has joined the ring of dividend paying, 3 dividend paying banks. The first year, paying their 10 kobo for half year. For me, it's a good one for Fidelity, and the number is looking good despite the inflationary environment. Seeing the kind of number from that bank, it's a good one. Others are there; their prices are below 2 naira, like all those Wima Bank, Unity Bank, Sterling Bank. Yes, there's opportunity in all these banks. It depends on your investment identity before you can position. But being in the financial sector, consider they are consistent in their dividend payments, especially the FCMB and the Fidelity. I will say consistently because that of Union Bank, even as the financial ended at 2021, there's no dividend. That was the process of acquisition by TT Bank. We're still waiting to see more from Union Bank. On that note, for me, investors should not panic, but take your investment decision, let your go guide you, and set your entry and your exit strategy whenever you're entering this scope. I believe that the first two I've just are good for people to buy, but for speculation, Sterling Bank is also what we can also consider for decision.
All right. Well, very quickly, let's move on right now. We're looking at the earnings per share. For earnings per share, FCMB 69 kobo. For Fidelity Bank, 80 kobo. Sterling Bank, 28 kobo. Union Bank, 41 kobo. And then for Wema Bank, 14 kobo. And for Unity Bank, we have 15 kobo. Chase Bank, 7 kobo. Well, let's start with you.
In looking at the earning per share, it's a function of your share in issue. And just like, in a family where you have, those 30 kids in the house and a family that has 12 kids, when you give them 5,000 naira to go to the market, the guy that has 3 kids will enjoy 5,000 naira. The guy that has 12 kids will be managing. Then we are seeing this in earning per shares for this company. Look good. I'll tell you that the share in issue for Fidelity is higher than all. Still is having about 80 kobo. Earning per share for second half of the year, for first half of the year. For me, it's a good one for Fidelity. That means at the end of the day, you can really forecast that either 160 kobo or 180 will come. That means dividend of even 35 kobo they paid last year is possible, or 30 kobo. For me, it's a good one. But this earning per share have given us what actually investors need to share from the company. That is earning per share. For me, for all of them, is outstanding. Good one for the sector. We can see an improvement in them. Followed by FCMB and 69 kobo. Fine, 41 for Union Bank. But the good thing is that let's look at Jais Bank. Jais Bank is a bank I really want to look at this hour. If you look at this bank, since they listed, they're into non-interest brand.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've been consistent since they listed the exchange from 2 kobo to 30 kobo, 2 kobo to 3 kobo to 4 kobo dividend. This is a gradual improvement, and the bank is still selling below 1 naira. For me, there are kind of people that you are looking for a consistent company that will pay you dividend, and being in financial sector that is well regulated, defaulting from their their strategy or their direction will be very high, because they are well regulated. For you to know that if you are investing in them, that is why you see any economy, you see foreign investor entering to invest, they consider the banking sector of that economy because of the regulator. That CBN is there, they know that nothing go wrong, and that is why for me, investors that are invested in banking stock, even though the return is low, below inflation, depending on your investment objective. Personally, I won't play much banking stock for my portfolio, because I need investment that will give me even more than inflation. But this kind of stocks, the yield at the end of the day, the numbers will not be above inflation, even far below inflation. Then I have to look at elsewhere. That is why they didn't listed sectors and where people are looking at. But for banking sector, they remain strong. For me, it's a good one. The numbers are speaking for themselves.
All right, you talked about Jay's Bank being non-interest. Sterling Bank is also having this standalone bank, the alternative bank, where they will also do something like that, non-interest. But that'll be conversation for another day. I just thought
no, you are correct. That's why they are also processing their license to have what we call a holding company, so that they can still have their commercial bank and they not just. That's why I said something is fishing. That when I say that something, investors should know what I mean by that.
Yeah. All right,
okay, let me just talk about Fidelity Bank. Is a bank that's a SME focused bank, and I follow them quite well, and I've seen that they are really focused when it comes to SME. They do quite a lot there with an earning per share of, is it 80 kobo?
Yeah, 80 kobo, yeah.
Yes, and they've just paid interim of 10 kobo. Well, if you ask me, I think they should still deploy more of the monies, to expand and do those acquiring they want to acquire in the UK. And then, of course, they can just decide to maybe release like 30 kobo, 35 kobo
at the end of the
year for investors. Yes, I give them kudos, and I think the banking sector is really coming to play a traditional role of supporting other businesses, and you can see, and that is why the numbers are coming this way. Again, I would say it is not just about the numbers, it is about their impact on their people.
On their people. I thought you wanted to, when you say environment, I'm wondering, if we're looking at climate change, if we're looking at pollution, I don't think so much of that comes from the bank.
You don't know. They support projects that damage the environment.
In that area. Exactly. All right.
Actually, just like what you just said, I believe that the banking sector, for me, what investors should be looking at, look at these banks, the numbers are looking good. Like I'm thinking of the sustainability that he'll be telling us nice, like looking at the operating cash flow of these banks. I know that because the financial sector, you can't do the same analysis with other animals, but they have financial sector. But how able to sustain it, what matters. Why sustainability is very important, that if you look at the factor that will support these bank numbers, that tells you that you can hold your position there. That's what I'm expecting. That now we are seeing improvement in the interest income of these banks. We are seeing their fees and the commission looking up. Nearly all the banks have experienced that in their result. It tells you that these numbers are read that you as an investor, if you're in the banking sector, depending on your investment, there's no panic, because going to the future, we're going to see a better number for this 2022. One, if they're able to CBN retain MPR at 14, it's going to be what if I said it earlier, if TBR moved to 10%, and the banks were even crying when it was about 1.9%. Now at 10%, they should be laughing.
All right, let's move on now. For price to earnings ratio, that's the PE ratio, FCMB Group 4.49, Fidelity Bank 3.78, Sterling Bank 5.57, Union Bank 12.33, Wema Bank 26.32, Unity Bank 3.10, and Chase Bank 11.72. Mr. Charles, let's have your thought on that.
Yes, again, we have agreed that the PE ratio is just for valuation purposes, and of course, you have to compare it with the industry average, and of course, it's not, how do I put it now? It's a ratio that you just see how valuable the company is, how long you will stay to recoup your investment, of course, and they said if they pay out all their earnings. So I think investors should look at the figures very well, and of course, in terms of investment decision, they should also look at other ratios too before making their informed decision. It's good. The numbers are doing quite well.
Okay, very quickly, let's have your thoughts.
Yeah, to add to it, it just says for me, P ratio is for valuation, and at the same time, for comparison, we're doing comparison analysis here.
Yes.
You look at, when you see the lowest P ratio, it tells that you have your waiting period will be shorter. That means you won't spend more to recoup what you invested if the ends of the company remain unchanged for that period. But if there any improve, you might reduce also your waiting period. Looking at the table, you see that for me, I would say that the P ratio that I'm saying that is attractive, we know that for Unity Bank, it doesn't that number alone. We know that I've said earlier that their shareholder fund is in negative. For that, anything that is coming from Unity is about it's just not considerable, because when a bank is having negative shareholder fund, it's no go area. I don't know why CBN has still left the bank. Because know the way Sky Bank went. When they came overnight, it does nationalize the bank. But these have been for almost 5 years on a negative shareholders fund, and it's still operating. I don't. That was between the regulator and the bank. But for me as an investor, we don't go such area because you are not expected to pay dividend with that, because you're already in a shareholders negative. That means I don't count it as where to look at. But for looking at the table, I would say that Fidelity still stands out because it shows you that it has the lowest P ratio. That say you have shorter period to stay to recoup your earnings, your investment. If the earnings remain like this for this period, about 3 point something, for me it's a good one for investor. But the next numbers we are seeing should also guide any investor that wants to take a decision, especially let your investment objective guide you what to do.
All right, book value per share now, that's the BVPS. We'll start with FCMB Group, 12.77, Fidelity Bank, 10.76, Sterling Bank, 5.19, Union Bank, 9.63, Wema Bank, 1.88, Unity Bank, minus 23.45, and for Jay's Bank, 0.70. I think I'd like to start out with you, Mr. Omodio. You sniffed.
Yeah. Okay. If you look at the book value, for me, it's for you to just what we call easy way of looking at whether a company is undervalue or overvalue. If you compare the market value of this company, you now see what is selling in the market. You can easily know. Oh, for example, now if you look at FCMB at the book value is about almost 12 naira and the price is below 4 naira, you can say this is grossly undervalued stock. And these are what also will help you if you take statistics of which of these banks are really selling below their book value. What it means that in case of liquidation and they want to settle people in this bank, what you have for 3 naira, they're paying 12 naira. You can see that means there's a good, the assets is really, sweating. But I believe that for Fidelity, for me, it's also encouraging at 10 naira. Just for me, all the numbers are looking good. Apart from that, it has also negative, and that you can see why it's a negative because of what negative shareholders fund. That's why I said Unity Bank for now is a no-go area for investors unless you want to play, trading, going and go out. But most times you are there and the thing catch you, you become a victim. But for me, there's other banks you can also look at it and take position.
All right.
Okay, let me just add. Let's see the figures again. Yes.
Okay.
It's they've done quite well. You've seen everything there. So one will now confidently say yes. FCMB Group trading less than 3 naira 45, yes, less than 3 naira 50 kobo, and the book value is about 13 naira there. So you can see it explains itself. Looking at Fidelity, over 10 naira. Fidelity is trading less than 3 naira also.
No, below 4 naira.
Below 4 naira, sorry. Okay, so you can see that investors should increase their holdings in these companies.
Okay.
Because what he's saying, the implication is saying that these companies have the potential to get to this. That's their market price.
That's why I said easily for you to know whether the stock is undervalued or what. There are other valuation you can do, but this is the first just an instance. Exactly. That's why I said figure don't lie. When you see the can guide you. That's why I said as a good trader investor, you must know how to calculate combine your fundamental and your technical analysis. As well, we are looking at the behavior of the investor in the market. We are looking at the numbers that are managed from the company, whether to support what the dividend at the end of the day. But from this figure we are seeing, it's a good thing that most of the companies are safe. I call it they have a high safety margin. And when you see this high safety margin, it encourages you to take position. All
right, so you're encouraged to take position because of this safety margin. Yeah. Well, moving on to profit margin now, FCMB Group at 10.82. Fidelity Bank 15.05, Sterling Bank 10.22, Union Bank 13.59, Wema Bank 8.75, Unity Bank 6.15, and Jay's Bank 24.29. Mr. Charles. Yes,
the figures are still coming out the same way. It's still the same thing we are seeing, except for Jai's Bank, that is 24. But I think that is also okay. Now, it shows that, yes, these banks have come to terms with, in terms of their operations. At a point in time, we're all talking of high cost of diesel. Most of the bank, when you go to banking hall, they tell you by 2 or 3 o'clock, they close because they want to reduce costs and all that. And coming out to these figures, it shows that the banks have really understood their cost structure in terms of their daily operation, and that's quite impressive. But I want Ambrose to speak on the Jais Bank doing about 24.29.
No, for me,
I'm not too comfortable.
No,
with
he said that Jais is really, managing their cost. He said that cost efficient, you can give it to them.
Yeah.
Look at also the network branch network also is not much as compared to others, and also this is a bank that's into what free, interest return. They know how they are doing their business, and I believe that it's a pointer that they are taking advantage of their size, and which is good for them. For me, no, that means in every 1 naira they make in their gross earnings, they'll take about 24 kobo as profit. It's a good one for any consideration. That is, I said this kobo banking stocks are attractive depending on investment objective. But for me, that is going somewhere. I said that in the listed of the exchange, that constantly pay dividend, and that is a good sign to say that a company is healthy, or especially in the banking sector. That is why I think banking sector all over the world, when they are not paying dividend, they don't feel free. They feel that the public or the market is in there has not been efficient. And for me, when we are paying dividend and we are seeing the kind of numbers, shows that the place is well run. All
right. Well, finally, let's look at the return on earnings. That's the ROE. FCMB Group 5.40, Fidelity Bank 7.48, Sterling Bank 5.36, Union Bank 4.25, Wema Bank 7.29, Unity Bank minus 0.62, and Chase Bank 10.46. Okay, let's start with you again.
No, actually, I would say that these numbers are speaking for itself. Yes. You can see Chase Bank standing out, and that means in terms of return on equity, it's also showing that investor in that.
But how is Jais Bank doing that? Being a non-interest bank, I mean, that's a question I've been asking, really.
It's a different business model. Every bank has a model they operate. Even like the way also they are expanding. You can see that the strategy for access is acquisition strategy. Yeah. You can see that UBA, expanding to more countries. Now UBA have moved to, to EAU, Dubai, and other stuff. They are in New York. They're in London. Also. Jais is also looking at that space. I'm the only one operating in fact before Sterling Bank now have the same
Sterling Bank.
But I believe that that space, they are taking care of that space. And you believe that also, if you look at the northern culture and the way they do their business, I believe that for people not who want to prefer to patronize Jais Bank because of the interest free, and that if they are at the back of their back of their house, there at the back of their door, guys, I believe that is what is impacting them. I believe that it's a good thing for them.
And of course, the ethical banking in Jais Bank it's very key, because that strong principle will make the bank to maintain what they are doing there. Non-interest banking, it means that they're going to profit sharing. So it's a very good business model, because it's not only meant for those who are Muslims. I have an account with Jais Bank, so I think people should look at.
Also, I think that profit sharing is also a big model for them. Yes. I think it's working for them because it's a good one. When you are the one guiding, a businessman to make profit, at the end of the day, it's making 1 million, and you have a ratio to share. It's not like they won't give you interest. From that thing, you take your profit. I think it's a good one. Yeah. I think that is why Sterling Bank is looking that way. But let's see how. But don't forget that most big companies in the world are commercial banks.
Yes, you can say that again.
And then investors, we have investors trade your plan your trade.
Okay, trade your plan your trade.
Trade your plan. Averaging.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, thank you too for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and of course we do appreciate Mr. Aruna for also joining us. And many thanks to you for being a part of the show. It's a wrap. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day. Happy weekend. Bye for now.